From a young age, my girlfriends and I would hold hands whenever we were out. Now I wouldn't dare do the same, not even with my actual girlfriend.
Reason being, I'm afraid of the looks and jeers that may come our way, or that our actions would get us into trouble. I think different cultures will look at social norms differently. If you were to go to Indonesia, it is very often that we see men holding hands.
This is again a societal thing. In society we are expected, or I would say we are expected to be straight. You can't change anybody's opinions of it. But this is something that you will have to talk and speak with your partner, whoever your partner is. If your partner is a person who is very comfortable holding hands and wants to hold your hand in public, you have to talk about it. Your partner will need to know where you are coming from and why you're feeling this way. I think that's the thing. One part of it is that you're afraid about what people will think when they see both of you holding hands that way. Your partner may not feel the same way, and you have to know where your partner is coming from, both of you.
I think when we were young, this is more natural because we are good friends. And friendship is about relationship and how we feel about each other. I have attended church and Christian fellowship since a very young age.
And have witnessed leaders raise topics related to the LGBTQ community. While I remain silent, unable to disagree with their statement.
On one occasion, I was invited to pray for a cure for the aforementioned immoral acts of which individuals in community participated in.
And while my lips were kept sealed, I so much wish I had the courage to stand up for myself and my community.
You hate the sin and love the sinner. Again, that's the environment I was raised in.
Don't. I know that's a horrendous guilt. I mean, it's, somebody's literally in your face putting a burden of everything that you do. It's being horrendous and immoral. You should not feel on top of everything and all the guilt trip that you're given, also feel guilty that you need to actually stand up and be the first one that's going to be smacked and stigmatized. Slowly the group will get there. This type of dialogue will do it. Yeah, I would say, don't put even that on top of yourself. If you feel comfortable to jump and say something, do it. Absolutely. But if you don't, it's understood.
Since I was little, I had to endure physical abuse from my stepbrother, some of which left permanent scars all over my body, including my private areas.
Insecurities come in the way of my confidence in sharing my body with anyone.
For the fear of it being seen as deformed.
This causes a significant amount of self-doubt, especially since the gay community often prioritize the physical appearance over other attributes.
I'm afraid I'll never find someone who will truly accept me as I am.
This is quite troubling. I think what happens in your childhood really very much affects how you actually grow up. And in this case here, I think it's not very much about the physical appearance. It's very much in conversations with himself. And I think to actually find someone who actually understand him and to actually accept him for who he is, it's going to be quite difficult. Not only for the other person to actually accept him or know who he is, but then for him to actually be able to open up to others.
Being abused by someone in your household, that's even more terrorizing. For this person to not have body confidence, for them to be ashamed of the scars and the marks that they have. Yeah, it's perfectly understandable, because I think even for those of us who haven't been abused, we're all insecure. We all have parts of our body we don't want to show. We all have places of ourselves we want to hide.
I too have a physical defect. I have polio since I was 1 year old. People used to laugh at me. They call me Pengka. not something that I liked when I was young. I used to throw my crutch at them. And I think at the end of the day, whether I'm accepted or not does not depend on my physical deformities, but really how I view myself sometimes. What is most important? I think God sees me as I am. You are a person. You have your distinctiveness. There's nobody else like you in the whole wide world.
So that's a tricky one, but I would say don't despair. There are people that have had the same or slightly different experiences. There are people that have empathy. Don't lose faith in the empathy of human beings. Although we have a lot of cruelty on one side, I think empathy actually drives us. So I would say don't despair. It'll come.
Your family is supposed to be your rock, yeah? They're supposed to be your foundation, where you grew up, where you feel safe. But obviously this was not your experience, and I'm so sorry that you had to go through something like that, and can only imagine, you know, the pain that, not just the physical pain, but obviously the psychological pain that it has left you with. But I hope that what you carry with you, what you've endured in your childhood, will be hopefully, you know, used in a way that will help empower you in some way. But it takes a lot of time, and it takes a lot of pain to get to that point where you can use your own pain of the past to shape a better future for yourself. The very fact that you are alive to write this is a testament to your resilience. I hope you know that. And I do hope that before you find someone who can truly love you for all that you are, that you love yourself first.
I came out to my mom as gay, and she accepted and loved me no less.
However, my dad didn't quite have the same stand.
During high school, my father had suspicions of my true sexuality and caned me for being homosexual. But the physical pain paled in comparison to his words.
You're a monster, a disgusting gay that likes to play with assholes. Oh, fuck. Fuck that, man. Yeah, you don't do this to your child.
Calling him disgusting. What good does it do?
Words always mean more than actions to me, especially when they're coming from your parents, people that you see every day. He says, he literally told you, his child, that you're a monster. It's so dehumanizing. I think a lot of people in the LGBTQ community feel so dehumanized, and I feel sad because we're all human and we all deserve love and encouragement and support.
Again, my logical brain would think of toxic masculinity, that a man should behave a certain way, a man in society should behave a certain way, they should have certain masculine characteristics. All these pressures on what a male should be is very, very much a societal formula. And it's very hard for your dad to break that, especially if he himself grew up in a very typical male-dominated patriarchal structure. And I think, and I hope, that you don't try to change his mind. These kinds of things, you can't change anybody's mind. I'm so glad that you have a mother who is accepting of you, of what you are. It's going to take a while. It's difficult for parents especially to accept, especially if you come from a very kind of more conservative or, you know, very patriarchal kind of upbringing. It's very difficult to break that. But your mom is already breaking that. It's a good thing. It's a good thing.
The dad, I'm not sure, because for me, if let's say I had a son in the future and he comes to me and confess that he's gay, I'll probably just say that it is what it is and I can't change who you're gonna be, how are you born. So I'm just gonna accept for who he is, and I wouldn't try to change him, because I know that this sort of situation is like, there's not much you can do but to accept the person and love him as who he is.
It is never right for one person to abuse another, even if it is the father. But in our social and cultural reality, this sometimes may happen because the father may be frustrated, maybe thinking that they have somehow failed in the upbringing of their children. And while I do not agree that you can take it out on your child, I'm saying that this may be the reason why your dad did that. For some men, it may be hard for them to come and say to you that I shouldn't have, I'm sorry. Those are difficult for like Chinese men to say to their children.
I would see it as such a reward to my parenting that my child decides to tell me this. So I think that's the biggest one, so okay, so trust has been built. These are all cultural things. We need to support our children in navigating their choices. These are young, anxiety-filled lives, so we first need to love them, and then, the rest. Ask them why, have a conversation.
I can only ask you to remember that he is your father, and that no matter what happens, you are his child, and that there ought to be an avenue for reconciliation, that as you grow, you may find it in your heart to forgive him, and he would come to love you as he should as your father.
I'm grateful for all my friends and family who've not only accepted me, but expressed how proud they are of me since I came out. This is a good example of what people can do these days. They have the power to make somebody feel as though that they are loved and they have a meaning to exist in this world.
It's that simple. Do you know what I mean? Then, and this is what I want to say. If you got this, then the caning or imprisonment or those bad looks, nothing works. You know what I mean? If your circle is there for you, the rest will be fine.